cherry teeth. You won't see him until it's too late. You won't hear him until he's already got a knife in your back. You won't feel him until he's clasping his hands over your neck to choke you. He's impossible to escape. I should know. He's haunting me right now. I've seen flashes of him in the corner of my eye. I've heard faint whispers of his voice carried in the wind. I've felt him run a finger down my back just to make me jump and yelp in a mix of terror and surprise. He'll torture you, make you feel like he's behind you, and when you turn around, he's not there. He'll give you illusions so scary you'll try to kill yourself before they end. Oh yes, he'll torture you until you're on the brink of insanity. And that's when he will strike. He'll put his face in your dreams, a face that looks friendly and warm, until he smiles. Why? Well, his teeth are dark red with blood. He'll lick them as he stares at you with his wide yellow eyes. And then he'll say with a grin, "Taste like cherry," before he will lunge at you. It's just a dream, though. It's always just a dream. So, why do I wake up with scratches on my arms? It's his game. He makes you believe it's a dream. He makes you think you're just paranoid. That's how the game is played, and he always wins. I first caught a glimpse of him when I was home alone after my parents went to go shopping. I was watching TV downstairs as any other teenage boy would do when all of a sudden a flash of strange pink came into view in the corner of my eye. I turned only to find the space empty. I shrugged it off, of course, and turned back to watching Tom and Jerry. Thinking back on that, I should have run out of the house. I should have listened to my pulse as it sped up, and the feeling of someone looming over me swept over my mind. I remember turning around only to find that no one was behind me. I was an idiot. I turned off the TV and I decided to go up to my room and read some of my books. I sat next to the window and used the sunlight to read the words better. It was a nice day out, too. A shadow in the shape of a hand fell over the words and I jumped and turned. Oh, just a leaf from the nearby tree. I tried to shake it off, but the looming feel of terror remained as I read on. The next time I encountered him, I was in the park. It was spring, and I was laying on the bright green grass with my eyes closed as I relaxed in the sun. I took a deep breath and smiled. Taking a nap, I see. How innocent. I sat up at the sound of the snake-like voice and looked around. No one was there. Perhaps I had just imagined it. I laid back down and tried to relax my tensed muscles. Innocence doesn't last. Not when there's insanity to fall into. Again, I shot up at the voice. "Who's there?" I called out as I surveyed the area. Again, no one was in my sight. I shuddered as I got up and decided to go home. Even as I walked down the nearby empty sidewalk to go home, I felt someone following me. I tried not to turn around, though I failed and did so a few times. Again, I was just being paranoid. I hoped. The third time was the worst. I was heading home after watching a football game with my friend Jason at his house, and I had stopped to look up at the stars. I silently listed the constellations in my head as I stared up at the points of light with a smile. I gasped as I felt someone run a cold finger down my neck, and I jumped and spun around. "Who's there? Show yourself!" I called out in my panic. A minute passed and no answer came, so I turned and began my walk home once more. God, am I really that paranoid? I thought as I sped up my pace. I gave a startled cry as the feeling of a cold hand being dragged down my back became known as I spun around once more. I felt my heart race as I registered the fact that no one was visible. I needed to get out of here, now. I turned and ran the rest of the way home, barreling through the front door and locking it behind me before dashing up the stairs and into my room. I slammed the door shut and turned on the lights. I sighed in relief as the familiar scene of my room calmed my nerves down, and I was able to sit at my desk, laptop open as I chatted with one of my friends online. I looked at the sidebar of the chat and saw an ad for a horror movie. It had a lanky man who was awkwardly tall and had big yellow eyes and hair that was white with splotches of light pink and red in it, probably from blood, and a bloodied rapier in hand. He was smiling a dark grin, teeth stained with a dark blood red as some of it trickled out of his mouth and stained the white turtleneck he wore. I chuckled. "Looks lame," I said, before turning to the chat. I froze and slowly turned back to the ad as the man scowled, eyes trained on me. I felt my blood grow cold, and I began to tremble as I realized something. The man was a reflection. I whipped my head around to look. Nothing. I exhaled a shaky breath and turned back to the ad. The man was gone. I felt my heart race, and I quickly logged off the chat and crawled into my bed, placing my back against the headboard to make sure that nothing could get behind me. The rest of the night I didn't sleep. I only stared at the suddenly scary and panic-filled scene of my room. That's all that has happened so far, besides the night terrors he gives me and the quick touches and whispers. I'm losing my grip on reality. I don't know if he's really there or if it's my imagination. Is this what insanity feels like? To not know the difference between reality and your mind? It must be. He's standing behind me as he rests his chin on my left shoulder and a cold, bloodied hand on my right shoulder. He's smiling as he watches me type, waiting for me to finish my story before he kills me. It's strange. The thought of death comforts me. I don't have fear of it anymore. The thought of knowing that I will be able to escape the insanity that is slowly consuming my mind makes me peaceful. He's chuckling now, whispering, "Come, little child. The last act of the play is about to come to a marvelous end." As I type, he is licking his teeth now, telling me how the blood that soaks them tastes like cherry. He disgusts me, yet at the same time, I want to thank him for saving me from this hell in my mind I'm not sure whether to see him as a demon or an angel anymore. I need to go now. He's getting impatient. He has the rapier to my mouth now, telling me to stick my tongue out. Of course I do. He's laughing as he drags it across my tongue, and the blood on it tingles as it stains my tongue. Huh. It really does taste like cherries. He's laughing as he drags